doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
All carry-on baggage stowed until the aircraft is parked at the gate and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Smoking is only permitted in designated smoking areas. You may not connect your mobile device to the network. If you have any questions about connecting flights or baggage, please speak to one of our agents and
Yes, 新四军老战士申敏晨99岁，八路军老战士张群100岁，华南游击队香港老战士罗定辉94岁。
Welcome back to the SCIF. I am on the road as usual these days. It seems we're heading to North Carolina to do some reporting on the follow-up of our story last year on the hurricane which devastated the area. We still want to find out what the truth is going on there and what happened in that area of the world that is Western North Carolina near Asheville. Specifically, we went to Bat Cave and other towns last time. We may go back there, but we're going to dig around and find out, things like death counts and what the public knows, what's going on with the people who were impacted, how's Sewanee doing, and others, places there that were impacted seriously. I think I got that name right. I may have not. Spacing on the name of the big town that was swamped with the river. So we have a great show today. Ed Vidal is going to join us. A lot happening. Ed has been spot on with Rubio and what's going on with little Marco, but who's now big Marco, I guess. And we're going to talk about what's happening in Venezuela. Are we in another conflict? Is this just drug operations? As the unit I flew for in the past, it was called the BAT operation down there, which was basically looking for drugs in that area. So I know somewhat about this mission off of Latin America and Central America. And we're going to discuss that with Ed. He's always a wealth of information. And then we're going to talk some pattern recognition again with Bill Quinn in the second hour. Just you got to know what's going on here, and this is the place to know what's going on. I'm your host, L Todd Wood. Today is September 3rd. Here's your mission brief. You saw that Trump is, you didn't see it, but on the CDM.press in the cold open, you saw Xi, Kim, and Putin all broing at the military parade in Beijing. Trump accused Xi and Putin and Kim of conspiring against the U.S. This was pretty aggressive by POTUS, who usually is normally pretty friendly. I have a great relationship with Kim Jong-un. I have a great relationship with Xi Jinping and Putin, but it wasn't so great today, so we'll discuss that. U.S. strikes Venezuela gang small vessel. I want to get to the bottom of that with Ed Vidal. Trump moves Space Force to Alabama. There's something behind that more, and Ash Epp in Colorado has been all over this with our paper, the Colorado Free Press. Israel pushes on in Gaza in the West Bank. A lot of swirling narratives, realities, and conflicts in that region. We'll try to break it down for you. And Trump, is he telling the vax truth all of a sudden? Well, maybe. Stay with us. We've got a great show. We'll be right back. We've got a lot to talk about. Stay with us on the SCIF. Be right back.
Celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7. I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
Pandemic, we can never be caught unprepared again. And so many Americans, when COVID hit, they had nothing in the house. Stores were shut down, and doctors' offices were shut down, and even if doctors prescribed drugs, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, pharmacists wouldn't fill the prescriptions. That was a nightmare.
Now the situation is much worse. We have these horrible supply chain problems. In our emergency medical kit at the Wellness Company, we have 8 prescription drugs that are all potentially life-saving.
Most people who died with COVID, they died in the hospital because they didn't receive early treatment.
Every American family should have one of these.
I can tell you the Wellness Company kit is the answer.
Welcome back to the SCIF. I'm going to bring in Ed Vidal now, who is basically our best Latin reporter. Ed, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming on.
All right, thank you very much. I've been watching since the 10 o'clock hour, and I have some comment on the Eurasian giant Russia and China. But first, I'll go to what your question is, which is this event in Venezuela.
Yeah.
This is part of what Trump won on. He won on economics. We had 20% inflation over 4 years, and he won on what I would call national defense.
Mm-hmm.
National defense starts with sealing the border. You stop the bleeding, and now he's doing the deportation, and he's doing this all over the country. And he's going to Chicago this week, and I welcome that. I'm from Chicago. But now he's going to attack. He's going on the offensive. And he recognizes, as Rubio does, that the countries in Latin America, like Cuba, Venezuela, and even Mexico, were complicit in this invasion of America. They collaborated with the Obama-Biden administration. They were complicit, and they have to be confronted.
Yes.
And so this is the beginning of that confrontation. Trump has expressly authorized the military to take on counter cartel operations. So that he made that executive order. So the military is authorized. The cartels are considered instruments of foreign countries, which they are. In this case, Tren de Aragua is an instrument of the Venezuelan government. In Mexico, I think the government is an instrument of the cartels, but that's another story. But certainly in Venezuela and Cuba has been working with the mafia since the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I have people who were landed at Bay of Pigs who tell me that the shooter of President Kennedy was not Lee Harvey Oswald, but a Cuban assassin standing on the other side. And so the Cuban Communist government is working with the mafia since the 50s, and it's continuing now. All these mafia operations. That's the only way these governments can earn any money.
Well, it's so much bigger than that, because all this information is coming out about the Venezuelan voting systems,
Yep.
the Smartmatic. I mean,
Oh no, that was a scam. It's a total scam.
Scam? What do you mean? It wasn't true? That
It's a fraud. The Venezuelans voted in November of '98 for socialism, and they have not been able to vote your way out. Socialism is a system of government that you can vote your way in, but you have to shoot your way out.
Oh, completely. And that's my point, is that they installed these machines. I think they're active in 76 countries, and they stole our election and put in illegitimate Manchurian candidates across, not just in the presidency, but all the way down to the local level.
Well, especially like in the Georgia senators, I think that's very harmful, because we're seeing all these judges that are fighting the Trump administration, and a lot of them were approved during the Obama-Biden 3.0 administration, and that was made possible because the 2 U.S. senators from Georgia went Democrat.
So that's got to be worked out. I saw Trump was going after the mail-in ballots. I hope he goes after the machines just as hard.
Yep.
Because it's absolutely necessary. Do you have any insight on that? Are you?
Well, I know that the Republican establishment thinks everything's okay. So that tells you that there's something going on. But no, they for example, Governor DeSantis says that vote by mail in Florida is fine. That Trump's vote by mail mandate is only addressed at other states where they send, because in Florida you have to request a vote by mail. In fact, I have a column coming up later this week where I say that Florida's election procedures are the cleanest dirty shirt. Compared with California, we're a lot better, but we're not good. We're not.
Well, we've had Chris Gleason on many times, and we keep pounding this because he ran for the supervisors of elections in Pinellas, one of the worst counties out there.
Yep.
And they ordered 200 and something thousand vote by mail ballots on a Sunday when the office was closed, all at once.
Right.
And then they half of them came back and were voted, and most of them had no address that was valid.
And something similar happened in Miami-Dade. And I sent the information to the Office of Election Crimes in Tallahassee. They did nothing.
Yeah.
So I know Chris has been chasing it. Also in Palm Beach County, Jeff Bongiorno has a very active pro se case. And one of the things that I'm trying to tell them is we need to raise money so they can hire some real lawyers. And that's something that this guy, Emilio Gonzalez, who's running for mayor of Miami, and I think he's the best candidate. You
put up a great article.
Okay. Yep.
Let me bring that
today.
up, but keep talking. I'll bring it up.
Well, he was already the best candidate, but this summer, the city of Miami voted the city commission and mayor to extend their term for 1 year so they could have their elections in the next year. And he took them to court. He won. I'm going to have lunch with their lawyers on Friday. These are serious litigators. And we're going to, this is a kind of conservative litigation that we need. Looks like you got a shot from his dentist, but that's okay.
It's from a Twitter photo, but
okay, no problem. Yeah. But this is all part. The whole Miami situation is part of really confronting the people that are threatening our southern border. Yeah. And these are countries like Cuba, of course, Venezuela, Mexico. They're completely in cahoots with the cartels. In particular, Tren de Aragua in Venezuela was organized by them and with the complicity of the Obama-Biden administration. And so I think this was the first shot. A motorboat with 11 people on board was shot into the water, just blown out of the water. I don't know if it was a missile or an airstrike or what, but clearly the U.S. has several guided missile cruisers and destroyers, and there's even a Marine Expeditionary Force, which is around 2,000 Marines. And I don't know that they're going to do a landing, or maybe they'll take Isla Margarita or something like that. But clearly, the administration is escalating the war on drugs. It's really an invasion of the United States. And Rubio was in Mexico Tuesday, Ecuador. He's telling them, and I think the issue is going to come to Mexico too. The government there is a communist government, and they're trying to become another Venezuela. And we are right to put an end to it and to tell them you can't do it. And if necessary, we're going to take the fight to the cartels. The American military will take the fight to the cartels. And a couple of days ago, there was a scuffle in the Mexican Senate on this issue.
I saw that.
Yeah, that some senators, in fact, one Mexican senator has expressly said that the government is controlled by the cartels and they welcome U.S. military. It's like the people in the south side of Chicago, Pastor Corey Brooks, that I wrote a column on. He's saying, yes, bring in the National Guard, bring in ICE. There's a problem here, and the cartels are running. Illegal immigrants are running Chicago, the inner city, and there's not enough police. Bring in the National Guard. So it's really all the same issue that Trump ran on, which is really to promote America's national defense. This is part of it.
So that's an interesting point. In that, well, first let me say I'm not sure they should have shown that video of the boat because it was a rowboat, and people are saying, "Oh, they blew up a rowboat." But it's more than that. It's a message to those that are trying to move out of Venezuela assets into the U.S. I used to do a lot of business there, and there was always a trying to get capital out of Venezuela, and there was an underground black market bond scheme where they would buy bonds and move them out. I mean, it was kind of complicated, but it was very interesting. But what do you think? Obviously, Maduro is scared. He's holding hands with China. He's holding up Huawei phones. He's, you're right. There's Puerto Rican exercise with Marines with, B-22s landing on the beach, and it's got his attention, I think. Do you think?
Absolutely, and in fact, he's mobilizing a local militia. But I don't think they could stop the Marines.
Yeah, no.
I think everybody who has any energy has left Venezuela, in effect,
or any money.
Yeah, or has any money. They're all here in Doral.
How is that community doing? Are they? What do you hear from them?
It's very prosperous. Doral is 85% Latino, and probably about half of that is Venezuelan. There are a lot of Colombians and other people, but there aren't that many Cubans that don't dominate. And it's only 10% Anglo. So when my wife goes to the Publix, she can't make herself understood at the deli counter.
Oh, so go ahead. You talked about deportation when you started. That was like your second line of defense.
Yep.
is that actually happening? We've seen some
yeah.
raids, but is it happening at scale that needs to?
Well, no, it's just getting started. We need a lot more, but it's starting. And I think what's happening is that there's starting to be this self-deportation. That people are saying, well, it's not worth sticking around here. But then, the other problem is, where do you go?
Yeah.
It's really a big problem. So yeah, I think that has to continue. And I think this week, the ICE is going into 200 agents at least are going into Chicago. And that will be a very big burst, because there are a lot of people there to be deported. And I've read the polling, and the Latinos especially and the blacks are in favor of having ICE and also the National Guard. And it's really the white lakefront liberals that are opposed, because they live in relatively safer neighborhoods. And you see that Mayor Brandon Johnson is a total idiot, saying, "Oh, we don't need this," And then the governor Pritzker, he's putting out videos of himself at the lakefront at 6 a.m. in the morning, where all these people are jogging. Well, yeah, they're pretty safe, but let's see him go to a place like 66th Street and King Drive on the south side at 10 p.m. and let's see the shootings. And that's where Pastor Corey Brooks has been very outspoken, and he said we need the more police protection, we need the National Guard, and we need the federal immigration enforcement to get rid of the illegal alien gangbangers.
What about Alligator Alcatraz? That's in Florida. What's the latest on that?
Well, the latest is that an Obama judge has ordered that it be closed within not long time. The state and the feds are appealing that order, but it may be that they don't need Alligator Alcatraz anymore, because there's another facility up north in northern Florida, and all the other states. Once that happened, all the other states are opening their up. There's the Lone Star lockup near El Paso. There's a volunteer vault in Tennessee. I mean, everybody's doing it, so they may not need that. It's a small facility. It's only holds 1,000. It's in the middle of the Everglades. It's an hour away from where I live in Doral, and but I think it made a point. It got everybody's attention all over the country that that's what we need.
Wow, that's amazing. Ed, do you have time for another segment? Can you?
Sure, I'll be happy to do it.
All right, we'll be right back.
Celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7. I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs, or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
Pandemic, we can never be caught unprepared again. And so many Americans, when COVID hit, they had nothing in the house. Stores were shut down, and doctors' offices were shut down, and even if doctors prescribed drugs, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, pharmacists wouldn't fill the prescriptions. That was a nightmare.
Now the situation is much worse. We have these horrible supply chain problems. In our emergency medical kit at the Wellness Company, we have 8 prescription drugs that are all potentially life-saving.
Most people who died with COVID, they died in the hospital because they didn't receive early treatment.
Every American family should have one of these.
I can tell you the Wellness Company kit is the answer.
Pandemic comes marching home again. Hurrah, hurrah, we'll give him a hearty welcome then. Hurrah, hurrah, all the men will cheer, the boys will shout, the ladies they will all turn out and will all.
So we're back with Ed Vidal. Thanks for joining us on the SCIF today. Ed is in Miami. He's with the Miami Independent, one of our prolific writers. And Ed, thank you for all of that. We really appreciate the content, really insightful. So before we get, I want to talk about Florida, but let's talk, you mentioned the international scene with Putin, Kim, and Xi Jinping. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've been wondering, I've always thought that Ukraine did not belong in NATO because they're not really a Western country, and NATO was formed to defend the West from the Soviet Union. And I've always wondered, why did the West provoke the war in Ukraine? Because they provoked it by inviting them into NATO, and they knew that was a red line with Russia, and they did it anyway. So why did they provoke that war? And partly, there's a lot of corruption. I mean, 90% of U.S. aid to Ukraine is disbursed in the United States.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of money to be made, including by General Kellogg's daughter.
Yes, exactly.
So there's a lot of money to be made. But I think when I saw your pictures in the top of the hour, one of the effects of this war has been to drive Russia into the arms of China.
Sure.
Which they had, Nixon had, to his credit, did very few good things, but that was one of the good things he did. He and Kissinger is drive them apart, and that's in our interest. That's in America's interest. So in effect, the globalists, including in the U.S. government, who caused the war in Ukraine, were really trying to harm America. And I think that's one of the themes we have to have in mind, that the Democrats, the progressives, are really anti-American. And just the way they opened the southern border and led it in an invasion, they drove Russia and China together. And if you look at that map of Russia and China, it's a Eurasian landmass. The good thing about the video you showed is that Prime Minister Modi from India was not there. Because he had been there the day before with kind of a Shanghai cooperation. And he's having a fight with Trump because he's buying all this Russian oil, and Trump hit him with some heavy tariffs.
Right.
But I was happy to see he wasn't there. But you can see there's this whole Eurasian landmass is now aligned against America. And they're not aligned against Europe because Europe doesn't count.
Yes.
They don't have anybody to so they're aligned against America. And I think that was a real harm caused by the Obama-Biden 3.0 administration. And it's going to be an issue. I mean, I'm glad that Trump is taking care of the near abroad, as the Russians say, with reinforcing the Monroe Doctrine and we're it's going to take some time to deal with these people. But I think Marco Rubio, to his credit, he's no longer little Marco. He's a very studious and conscientious Secretary of State. And I think this will lead to regime change in Cuba and Venezuela. And in Mexico, I visited there last year, and I wrote that we Americans, we need to create a buffer state between us and Mexico, and a buffer state made up of all the Mexican states that border the U.S. Yeah. And I think there'll be a lot of Mexicans will be happy to have that, because Mexicans understand their government is controlled by the cartels. Most of their landmass is controlled by the cartels, and this is the only way to give them some rest. So I think that's going to happen. But then in the future, we're right now we don't see an end to the Ukraine war. China is continuing. I mean, China. I'm going to have lunch with your son, who's Mandarin, on Saturday. Yeah, I'm going to Miami Beach.
Oh, good.
And we're going to talk about that. And China is a 4,000-year-old or more civilization, and their way of doing things is to be an empire. They have an emperor and an administrative state, all the mandarins, and that's all they know how to do. And so now they've been making some money since the 1980s, 90s, and they're back on their imperial trail, because that's what they know how to do. They want to make America into a vassal state. They've got Europe, I think, on the ropes. So that's what we're facing, and that's what really the Obama-Biden administration weakened America in the near abroad, and really to set us up against the big competitors for global hegemony.
Well, I've got this article up on CDM. There was a big military parade, just so our audience knows. You can check the article out. And Putin and Xi and Kim were there. All you know.
Those are the three. The triumvirate is China, Russia, and North Korea.
Well, it was a bromance. I mean, there's lots of meme material in there, which I'm sure will come out. But the two issues. One is I'm not sure how close Russia and China actually are, because I know Russia is very fearful of China. For good reason.
Yes.
And Trump is brilliant. That's why I think the Alaska meeting was so brilliant, because we're only 3 kilometers from Russia. We can do business without Europe. Europe is trying to keep the war going to be relevant, but you're absolutely right. Nobody cares about them. They have no money. They have no military. They have no culture anymore. They're just a dead museum being overrun by other cultures. And so I'm hopeful that Trump can do something with Putin on the business sense and in the Ukraine war. But the Europeans, what they can do is keep the war going.
Right.
And
that's what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're doing. So the other point is I think Xi is pretty weak right now. There's a lot of purging going on in the military. The economy's weak. We're really at a real critical point. And I hope Trump I know he has the brilliance, and I just hope the stars line up so that he has a chance to really shift the world right here in a big way. But so
Xi's weakness, which I acknowledge, is it's really a temptation for him to strike out. And that's a danger.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be. Although I think it'd be pretty hard for him to take Taiwan. I think Taiwan is getting pretty built up to be defended. It would be a real mess for them to try to do that. So,
well, we've got a few comments here. One saying we need to break away from China big time, cut off trade, and decouple. And then Amy Williams says, "And all roads lead to China." I think that our commenters are right, and I think Xi has been doing a lot in Latin America to hurt us with the Panama Canal. And I think Rubio you were really early on this. I'm still impressed by that, Ed. I mean, you called this really early on that Rubio's job was to reinstate the Monroe Doctrine. I mean, I think you said that a year ago. So that was brilliant. What about Florida? Let's talk Florida for a minute. A lot going on. You've got the DeSantis's term is his last one. Who's going to run? Byron Donalds is stepping up. Let's talk the governor's race. What do you see there?
Okay, governor's race. I think it's going to be there's going to be different slates, as I've said before, and DeSantis has his candidate. DeSantis doesn't want to lose relevance. He's not going to be like Rick Scott, who will then step onto the Senate right after he finishes his governorship. So he doesn't want to lose relevance. So he appointed as lieutenant governor a very close ally in the state Senate, Jay Collins. And Jay Collins is now going to have a chance to go around the state on taxpayers' dime and introduce himself. And this is a precursor, I believe, to him announcing a campaign for governor.
Governor I know year. Collins. We've interviewed him in the past. He lost his leg as a Green Beret, correct?
Right. He's a veteran, feisty guy. And I think he's got to introduce himself. But I think people are welcoming him because, as we have pointed out, Byron Donalds talks great on Fox Business and economics and all that, but he has a lot of connections that really point to his character. And the governor of any state, and especially Florida, has a lot of appointments to make. So you want to make sure that he will appoint good people. And he has a lot of connections and relationships from the past that point to him not being so good, including he supported Trayvon Martin. And we had the evidence. They challenged when one of our articles said that, and we had the evidence.
The campaign was not happy about that. But we said, look, here we go. Here's the proof. They didn't respond. So
it's right there. You can't. It's called So we looked it up, and he's got other issues. With the J6ers, he didn't really say they got what they deserve. On the voting machines, he says they're here to stay. He said Biden won fair and square, so get over it. So that was good. He said the Capitol Police during J6 protected everyone, where in fact there was a Capitol Police officer who killed Ashley Babbitt. So that was not. So he's got a lot of bad connections. He was very friendly with the House Speaker Perez, who was a big foe of Governor DeSantis, and they're fighting. And Perez DeSantis has a couple of good points. He wants to reduce or eliminate completely property taxes. And House Speaker Danny Perez who's supposed to be a conservative Republican, was opposed to that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And then Byron Donalds really sided with House Speaker Perez. So I think Byron has a lot of questions, and I'm glad to see that Lieutenant Governor Collins will probably be challenging him, although there are still people, Republicans, who say that Casey DeSantis may be coming up at the end of the year. But
you think so? I mean, I heard $10 million issue.
Yeah, she's got an issue. And also the whole idea of the governor's wife succeeding him is not good either. You know, everybody remembers George Wallace was succeeded by his wife Cornelia, and that didn't go over well. And here in South Florida, everybody remembers, you know, Isabelita Perón and now Cristina Kirchner in Argentina. We don't want South Florida politics to be any more Latin than necessary. So I think she'll be a bad show. I don't think she'll run. The other one,
she's got a reputation of being extremely ambitious to a fault.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So we'll see. You know, but anyway, I'm glad to see Byron getting some challenge. The other one is the U.S. Senate. Attorney General Ashley Moody was appointed U.S. Senator by Governor DeSantis to fill in Rubio's spot. And now the Republican Party of Florida is trying to endorse her, which I think is a mistake. The party should stay out of primaries.
Well, she's done absolutely nothing for election fraud. I mean, in fact,
she has done nothing for anything.
Ignored it.
She didn't do anything when she was Attorney General. She hasn't done anything now. And I think there's likely to be a challenge from Congressman Corey Mills from Central Florida. He's a former special operator.
Yeah.
And now he has some, skeletons in his closet, but I'm all in favor of challenging in Republican primaries. And in fact, as part of our election integrity brigade, we are promoting several challengers for this. And we're going to have Defend Florida recently had a reclaim campaign event in Venice, Florida, and we're planning one in Miami-Dade County for next February, Saturday, February 7th. We're going to have speakers. We're going to have speakers from the alternative organizations like Florida Republican Assembly and Republican Liberty Caucus, and then we're going to have speakers from Republican conservatives, MAGA Republicans that are challenging rhinos in the primaries, and that includes we have 3 Cuban American rhino congressmen down here, and we're trying to find challengers for all of them. I think we have for one of them, but we're continuing to look.
That's interesting. So there was a lot of pushback on the last Defend Florida event.
Sure, that's good. Then you're over the target, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
There's going to be more of those events in the fall, and we're going to do it in February. And it's really just a gathering of conservative grassroots Republicans who are not happy with the rhinos, and part of what we have to do is we have to recruit some candidates and then support them.
Yeah. And
there are 2 or 3 already for Congress. We're looking for more for the state legislature.
All right. Last question. The Election Integrity Brigade. Tell people the genesis of that and what it's about and what you're trying to get done.
Well, the genesis was really the stolen presidential election of 2020. A lot of people said, we got to get more involved with the Republican Party. But we found that the Republican Party in Miami-Dade is useless and corrupt, and was engaging in election fraud in connection with electing new committeemen. So we walked out. We formed our own organization, independent of any party. It's a separate corporation, and we're active with all sorts of election integrity matters. We have we're doing voter registration, which the local Republican Party doesn't do. We provide poll watching, we provide poll workers, and we're also involved in recruiting candidates who will challenge the Republican establishment. And it has to be done because some people have formed a third party that doesn't work. So we're very active. We also are active in legislative lobbying, and of course we're active in the media, pushing articles and challenging the establishment.
Yeah, they don't like that. I've noticed the Miami Independent is getting a lot more attention, and I wouldn't say in a negative way, but people are noticing and they don't like it. So just a little.
They don't like the challenge. People want to go along to get along.
I've noticed this in Georgia too, because we're pretty effective in Georgia. There's AJC, there's the whole Soros network in Florida also. They own everything in just one tiny little paper.
Right.
They can't have that. I mean, it's amazing to me. Just a little bit of a media accountability really flips them out, because they know that it's so easy to find information on them. And for a while, they were just arrogant and didn't think they could get busted.
Well, they had a monopoly, but here in Miami, the Miami Herald is really just a shadow of what it used to be. They're very low. They need 80,000 paid subscribers, and they have like 28,000, something like that. So they're not doing well. There's nobody else covering. So we're stepping into the right gap.
Yeah, so if you're in the area, MiamiIndependent.com, I know that Team Trump, at least elements of it, reads it. So, and if you're an advertiser in the area, please contact us and sign up for our no ad subscriptions. We are spending a lot of money on bringing all this to you, all this reporting. There's a lot behind it. So sign up for our no ad subscriptions. Make a donation if you want at the top of each site, because we have been attacked mercilessly with DDoS attacks after our Christian coverage in the Middle East recently. So, Ed, thank you. You're always a wealth of information. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'm working on my next column. Florida is the cleanest dirty shirt of election operations.
I can't wait. So go to MiamiIndependent.com. You can see all of Ed's writing. Thank you, Ed. Take care.
Okay. Thank you.
The bird flu is circulating. We're getting more and more press, more fear mongering, more warnings about this. First, let's start with that. What say you on?
Well, what I say is it specifically is not circulating. It's in animals. There's one human, maybe two transmissions, no human-to-human transmission. And stand by, everybody. If there is some sort of sudden human-to-human transmission, you should immediately be suspicious that gain of function was involved with that. Just the fact that they're taking an animal virus and going nuts on it in the press and talking about it all the time, that to me leads me to believe that they have concerns that somebody is doing something with that virus, because this would not happen naturally, in my opinion.
Our world is changing rapidly. Many crucial systems we depend upon are collapsing. And the most important system that is failing is the food supply.
Mr. President, this Council is more than aware of the multiple challenges and threats the world is facing today. But the threat of famine, people starving slowly to death, must be a red line.
These food prices are going to keep going up and up, and they're going to keep feeding excuse after excuse, narrative after narrative.
Yeah,
you're going to have to get off that treadmill and start getting more autonomous with your own food growing.
You want to make sure that you can eat, because frankly, food is the biggest issue as we are going through these transitions.
But amidst the chaos, there is a path to resilience. Marjorie Wildcraft is the female leader of the survival and preparedness movement. Marjorie has taught millions of people how to grow an abundance of food in a grid-down situation, even if you have no experience, are older, or out of shape.
I've spent decades finding the fastest, easiest, and funnest ways for the average person to be able to grow a lot of food. I've created a step-by-step process that's so simple that even kids to elders have been using it in order to grow a lot of their own food. And you can too, even if you have no experience, you're older, or you're out of shape.
Growing your own food is like printing your own money. Get started today.
Welcome back to the SCIF. Let's get into some stories. And by the way, support our sponsors. The Wellness Company has been fantastic to us. We work hard for them. It's a very good relationship. They're very big supporters of CDM and free media in general. I know they actually believe in it, and they believe in what they're doing in reinventing and reimagining healthcare. So go to twc.health/CDM and play around with the site. I would encourage you to just go there and just see what they have to offer. There's a lot there. If you use promo code CDM, you get 10% off. We're talking emergency medical kits, which I just used in Armenia, again, for the second or third time. It's critical to have when you travel, drugs that you don't have to go to the pharmacy. You don't have to find a doctor. You can just get online with a doctor at the wellness company. They say, go to your kit and do this. And it's just absolutely fantastic. And you can do that for a range of things. They have the weight loss stuff, the drop medications. They have the parasite cleanses. They have the nutraceuticals. They have the subscription levels. So I would suggest playing around with it and seeing what they have to offer, because it's just a fantastic way to make sure your family is protected. So for our audio audience, that's twc.health/CDM. Use promo code CDM, and you'll get all of the good deals. So let's talk. We looked at this already, but let's talk about this again. This is Putin and Xi Jinping in Beijing for their military parade. You saw the military parade in the cold open. And by the way, speaking of Putin and Trump and peace and Xi and Kim, this is all of a piece, right? This is a shift, or an attempted shift away from the U.S. hegemony in the world. That will probably happen, but what will it look like on the other side? We want America to be strong and prosperous, more of a hemispheric defense model. But a lot of these players are seeing opportunity to bring us down, and that's what Trump is facing in Latin America for the first time, really, because it's been encroaching on us for some time. And as Ed Vidal said, he's Rubio, and I found it interesting that Rubio is the one that announced the attack on the boat by DOD, not Hegseth or the president. So that is interesting to me, that Rubio is heavily involved in what's going on down here, and I find it very fascinating. So all of this is happening. I'm not sure how close Xi and Putin are. I hope that that Trump breaks them apart somewhat through trade via the Alaskan corridor. That is such an opportunity, fascinating, and that's why Xi has spent so much money developing, and Russia too, a icebreaker Arctic capability up there. I know that area well. I know the Arctic games up there, and it's just a lot of opportunity, a lot of risk, a lot of knowledge is needed to operate there properly in those temperatures and in that environment. You know, I went through Cool School. I know it well, which was Arctic survival in Alaska. So we're going to stay on this, and we'll probably be going to Alaska soon for more reporting. So stay tuned on that. But the whole, these three guys tied to Ukraine, you saw in the cold open, you're starting to have PTSD in Ukraine. There was a video of a veteran who was out of the war killing civilians in a parking lot. So not cool at all. Very similar to the U.S. And you're also seeing this in Israel too. A lot of the PTSD, suicides. This is the product of the forever wars. It's why it's so important to end these forever wars. So again, these are issues that we are on and will be on for some time. This is the on CDM. The U.S. struck a narco-terrorist vessel off of Venezuela. That is what we're talking about. You can find that on cdm.press. A lot of good information there on what actually happened, and we're going to be putting more out. There wasn't a lot of information available at the time, but this shows the craft that was destroyed. Again, it was a rowboat full of 11 guys, but it is a signal to those looking to bring fentanyl and other drugs into the United States, make money, bring the gang members in, bring the crime, and basically take over and invade and control our country. We don't want that to happen, obviously. Now, let's talk the Middle East, Israel. We put out a report and got some pushback yesterday that the Israeli army was tired. They're saying they can't quickly defeat Gaza. This is from senior military officers in the IDF. But people don't like that reporting. So we are not going to stop. We're just going to tell the truth as we see it. We'll also tell both sides. We added a response from people aware of what's happening there on the ground, saying that there is no issue with reservists showing up. The army is not tired, and that's probably true. But I think there are some elements that have battle fatigue, and that's been confirmed by other sources on the ground in Israel. Again, we just want to tell the truth. We're going to tell all the sides. You can make your own decisions, but part of the problem with our country and our policy making and our overseas interventions is that people were not aware of all the facts, and we want to change that. If you watch CDM, you're going to be aware of the facts. Let's look at this. Space Command is moved from Colorado to Alabama. That is on cdm.press. And if you go to Colorado Free Press, the coloradofreepress.com, which is our paper in Colorado, Ash Epp does a fantastic job. You can get really more information on this story. It's a big hit to Colorado, and Trump said there will be drastic measures. He's moving it to Huntsville, Alabama, and so the Space Force will not be in Colorado. That's a big loss for Colorado because you have NORAD out there, you have the Air Force Academy, you have Peterson Air Force Base, and a lot of other. You have Fort Richardson. There are a lot of military installations in Colorado, and this is a big hit to move Space Force Command from Colorado to Alabama. We're trying to get some more people to interview on this, why this happened, what the background is, et cetera. So look forward to seeing more of that over the next few weeks. But go to Colorado Free Press, especially if you're out west. Great resource. Subscribe to the newsletters, put it in your daily scan, check it every day, because we're always adding new content pretty much every day to every site. So check it out. Now, is Trump finally going to tell the truth about the vaccines? I sure hope so. This is something I've always been wondering about. I write this in this article on cdm.press. Why was Trump still pushing the vax? Saying that Operation Warp Speed is the best, blah, blah, blah. He got booed at one event, rally for that, and he stopped doing it for a while, but he started doing it again recently. And then there's been a lot of pushback inside the FDA and HHS about the vaccines and, changes at the CDC. And Trump came out and said, well, maybe the vaccine wasn't so great. And I think maybe this is his way of just getting the information out and showing that there is discord within the health administration, and then outing all of that and letting people make their own decisions. It's kind of a disclosure thing. And Bill Quinn's going to talk more about disclosure when we get into the second hour, because that's critical as to the future of the country, is to continue this disclosure, which is kind of happening now at a rapid pace. So I just had a comment that Trump never lied about the vaccines. People just didn't listen and pay attention. This is from Deb Sim. That is possibly true, but he did say many times over and over and over the Operation Warp Speed was great. That wasn't the truth about the vaccines. He may have not lied. He may have been misinformed, but the truth is they've killed millions all over the world, and they're a death shot, and it's human depopulation and mass murder. So, and bioweapon. So that is the truth, and that has to come out. And I'm hopeful that Trump is on that. So, wow, a lot of information, a lot of stories. We're going to be back. We're going to have Bill Quinn and talk about what's going on in the world. Bill's very good at that, so stay with us.
Watching my friends gain more and more weight, and then eventually I got to tell you, this is a little dark, but bad diet literally killed my whole crew.
Wow.
Diabetes, a stroke, all kinds of stuff. It's like, you had a stroke? You're not even 50 years old. You guys got to quit eating this stuff. Your body knows what's what. You're not conscious of this. But that's why people will go to the refrigerator and they'll grab this and that and the other and put together this outrageously elaborate combination of foods. Your body's trying to reach balance. Unbeknownst to us, our bodies are always trying to reach homeostasis. You can't eat all of this stuff and expect to live a long time. And one thing led to another, and I went, forget this. We're going to make our own product. So we partnered with one of the world's top 3 biochemists where nutrition specific study is concerned. I said, all I want is the best nutritional and immune support product in the world. So we mixed it in yogurt. It's a powder. I got a bag of it here. I keep one on the console all the time, just so I can show people.
Yeah.
And it's a powder. Now, this is not candy. This is hardcore nutrition. And sugar is an enemy. And most people do not know that the reason these bellies are showing up on people all over the place, your body makes fat to store the toxins it can't get rid of. So it just puts them over here. But I can tell you this, you take this for 30 days and then lay off of it for 2 or 3 days, and you'll go, good grief, give me some more. Skin, nails, hair growing back. Cut yourself and it heals in half the time.
I'm David Cross, and you may know me from my election integrity work, but I also own U.S. Asset Management, an investment advisory practice. I've been an advisor for nearly 30 years, and one of the questions I get asked most frequently is, do I have enough money relative to other people my age? And while that's an interesting question, it's also the wrong question. The right question is do you have enough money to sustain your lifestyle for the rest of your life? This is a question you should know the answer to. This is what we do. Check us out at us-am.com and look for our big proud American Eagle logo.
We're slogging over Africa. Foot, slogging over Africa. Boot, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. 7, 6, 11.
Welcome back to the SCIF. By the way, we're on podcast. So if you're in the car, you can check us out on any podcast provider. It's usually loaded up within an hour or two of the app, sometimes a little later, but depending on how busy we are. But you can check it out there and double time it like I like to do to get through podcasts in half the time. So check us out on any podcast provider. We're on CDM.press every day. We're on Gettr, Rumble, X. We load the show on YouTube afterwards if we have to cut out some of the vaccine stuff so they don't cancel us. But check it out and put us in your daily scan. CDM.press is a network. We have reporters literally all over the world. I think we've demonstrated that, and we get information that others don't. There's a lot of people that just scan AP or whatever and put out stories. I mean, sometimes we do that just to get the stories out that need to be talked about. But we have reporters literally all over the world, hundreds. The network is what drives this show. We're a wire service, and if you put CDM.press in your scan several times a day, because it's updated all day long, you'll be smarter than anyone else in the room. And please support our sponsors. All right, we're going to talk to Bill Quinn now, who I said was going to do some pattern recognition for us. This is from the Georgia show, just was recorded recently. And I love Bill's analysis and also what's going on. The GOP, the Georgia is for some reason very special, and the GOP is really screwed up in Georgia. And we had the Frost family Ponzi scheme with $140 million that were feeding money to candidates, stealing from patriots, giving to candidates. That was shut down by the feds. The GOP leadership has said nothing about it. In fact, a lot of the people involved in that are still in leadership positions, no accountability whatsoever. Bill's going to talk about that. Georgia is really important for the future of the nation because it's such a focused on critical state with the elections, et cetera. So here we go. I hope you enjoy this with Bill Quinn. All right, guys. We're going to end the show here, and we will come back tomorrow. See you at 10 o'clock. Sorry about the mix-up. If you can go to the Georgia Record on Rumble, on our Rumble channel, CDM1, and you can go to YouTube and find the Bill Quinn interview if you want to listen to it. It's really good. I would suggest it. We'll be back tomorrow on the SCIF, and we'll be tonight on the Georgia show with Bill Quinn live. So thank you very much. Sorry about that.